It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
What's up, everybody? Friday night from the forum. We're here, and tonight we got Win Now Dynasty Contenders. If you're in the role and you can win a championship, tonight's the night to drop your questions in the chat because that's the theme. Win now. So let's get it. What's up, everybody? I got a crew in the house, and I don't know what was going on with my sound just then in the intro, but we're here, and we're still live, and we're kicking. The chat has been lit up prior to the show. We got Let's Go Friday Night from Grindberg. Let's get this party started. Too Much Fantasy Football, and appreciate my guy Disco at Big Draft Energy, all of his homies dropping in, giving a little support to the channel. Appreciate you. And of course, you know, Brent always showing up, always hyped for the show. Appreciate you. BHS Cardinal, CMC. I have so many questions. Yes, that was on the thumbnail. Yes, we're talking about Win Now. And you can't get away from CMC, even though I saw a video, and Steve, I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but there was a video of CMC taking a couple reps, and people were like, oh, where did the burst go? Where did the burst go? Are we serious? Like, do we really think CMC has lost burst, or is this just one of those things?
No, he looks great. There's a lot of mix-up, but it's a bunch of keyboard warriors who probably pull their hamstring if they walk down the street, so I'm not worried about it.
I love that, keyboard warriors. Brent Bradford, appreciate you. This channel helped him win last year, going for the repeat. We are here for you. Got Doug in the chat. Go get them, fellas. Chris, Contender Strategy. Let someone sell you James Conner for cheap because he is always undervalued, which is true. Everybody is yelling Trey Benson season. You might can get James Conner for as less as a third-round draft pick in Dynasty. So, hey, maybe there's something there. Big Draft Energy, we're here for the show. And Joe, except for Joe, you don't got the fit on tonight. Where's the fit at, bro?
I'm repping the live draft Scott Fishbowl. We have the upgraded backdrop. I wanted to bring the show to that. We can't show out every time. You know what I'm saying?
No,
you gotta build it up. There's things to be said about if you do something every time, then it just becomes normal. People have to show up and see what the frick nasty fit is going to be. Sometimes it's going to be casual. Sometimes it's going to be crazy. I might end up topless by the end of the year if we get enough likes and subscribes. Like, who knows what happens? But it's not about me. Let's get to it.
40 likes and Joe will take his shirt off. Uh-oh. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
No, so I've got a crew in the house. You know, every Friday, 9 o'clock, it's me, it's Joe, and we've got two guests this week, Dustin and Steve. Glad to have you, fellas. Just real quick, let the crowd know where, like, who you are, where they can find your content. Maybe even like if you have something specific that you cover, and let them know where they can follow you, like on X or anything like that.
All right, go ahead, Dustin. You go first.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you having me on. If you see there on the screen, you can find me there. That's my Twitter handle, Empire Elite FF. I also have a free Discord by the same name, Empire of the Elite. Got a bunch of ball knowers in there. That's all we're doing. We're breaking down all 22 film. We're running mock drafts. Real 32 team. NFL mock drafts where you act like a general manager, just a bunch of fun stuff like that, building up a nice little film room there too, all for free. So just go ahead. You'll find the link there in my Twitter as well. We do have another thing coming here soon, powered by the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. It's a new show called Devy Dojo. So if you've been wanting to dip your toes into the Devy game, really get into that prospect scouting 24/7, then that's going to be the show for you to join. And I'm just so excited to roll that out.
So Steve here. Obviously, I'm new to Fantasy Sports Advice Network. I'm super excited to be here. I've been playing fantasy football for way too long to admit. Don't want to give away my age. I know this looks great, but I'm also a huge fan in the IDP category, something that I hope to bring into the Fantasy Advice Network. I really want to kind of add some value in that space because it's such a fun way to play fantasy football. When you're adding those defensive players, it makes it, I think, to me, a lot more exciting than the typical offensive side of things.
Yeah. So, no, I love IDP. I am in like maybe 2 IDP leagues, and it's fun. It's fun to get that like larger grasp of the game, and it's a blast. Shout out Big Draft Energy in the chat. He said, "Oh God, IDP one and done for me." He played IDP 1 year and competed. He played in the Fantasy Sports Advice Network Jersey leagues last year, and if I'm right, I believe he took the ship.
He did take the ship. He beat me in the semifinals with no fab to support his ailing bench and just crushed.
And speaking of IDP, Steve, Brent in the chat said, "What do you think about Jack Campbell?" And I'm also interested because I made a trade during the draft for Jack Campbell because I like the guy, but I want to hear your take. Where does he line up in your ranks for IDP?
He's slowly moving up. Obviously, I expected a little bit more last season. I wasn't sure what Detroit was going to do with him. But I do think this is going to be the season he gets really heavily involved. He showed a lot of flashes last season. And, for me, I think Detroit kind of has to figure out how to put him on the field. We talked about earlier off the show, we talked about linebackers that have just been those go-getters, and all of a sudden they get to really shine and they become the starters. And I think that's where Jack is going to be at. I think this is going to be finally his year. I've traded for him. I drafted him heavily in my rookie drafts in Dynasty. I love where he landed, and that's a team that was ailing from injuries last season. So we'll see how it plays out because they're going to be a lot healthier, but I like Jack Campbell a lot.
Love it. I have a ton of shares of him. I think he could be really good as well. I paid for him in our Bourbon League. So we'll see, right? But tonight we are talking about Dynasty Contenders. This show is specifically about the win now, which is funny because we got Devy in the house, who's not going to want to trade away those rookie picks, right? Because he's got his guys he's been watching for 4 years. But I'm interested to see the takes, right? So we're going to start kind of in the beginning here with some trade targets. So these are the guys, like if maybe they high upside, maybe the cost is cheap. I know earlier mentioned in the chat was James Conner. James Conner has always had this like nagging thing that follows him where he's injury prone or he's not going to make it through a full season or he is beyond his time. Like it's time to move on from James Conner. But somehow every year he continues to plug along and be effective. And if you had him last year, you enjoyed a lot of 20-plus point games, right? And the reality is he's cheap, still cheap, and always will be cheap. So like that's a good call on a potential buy. But we're going to get in tonight. We got these guys in the house. They're going to give you their top guys that maybe you can find at a discount that can win you a championship. So Dustin, start us off with your with number one for you. Who's somebody or a target for you, and maybe even what you might be willing to pay for this type of player going into the season if you're trying to win now.
Yeah, totally. So the first guy that I wanted to talk about tonight is the dynasty running back that nobody wants to believe in, and I'm talking about Chuba Hubbard. Now, Chuba Hubbard, going back to his college days, he's always been underrated. Back in 2019 with Oklahoma State, he actually rushed for over 2,000 yards and like 21 touchdowns. Despite that production, though, we had questions about his running style, the lack of elite burst, and he actually slid in the draft further than we thought, and he got that day 3 draft capital. But last year, he finally got like a legitimate opportunity to lead a backfield, and he actually delivered. Under the head coach Dave Canales, he got to be that lead back in a system that's pretty consistently created efficient rushing lanes. It's a system that leans heavily on those outside zone concepts, the play action threats, the real commitment to the run game. I remember Dave Canales, when he took the job, he said, "You'll find out how stubborn I could be when it comes to running the ball." So in other words, Chuba Hubbard got that fantasy gold where he earned the workhorse role. To me, Chuba didn't just flash because he closed the season as the RB11 over the final 7 weeks. He actually led the NFL with 134 carries in that span, and he racked up nearly 1,200 yards and like 10 touchdowns, I believe. Yes, 10 touchdowns. So, but when you look at Fantasy Calc, when you look at KTC, he's ranked as RB22 and RB21, well behind some other backs with less secure roles and even less efficient production. So from a scouting lens, when I look at it, when I put on that all 22 tape, I'm seeing a guy who he may not win with suddenness, but he thrives on decisiveness and vision. And we all know in those outside zone run schemes, you have to have that decisiveness and vision where you're pushing the leverage, you see the linebackers bearing down, you're going to make your cut and run uphill. So he just thrives in this system.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
He's not like a big time tackle breaker like Nick Chubb, but he does always get some pretty good yards after contact. I have right here PFF had him at 3.5 yards after contact per attempt. That was good for third among running backs who qualified in 2024. And I mean, let's be real. He's got contract insulation now too, with the Panthers showing how much they believed in him and inking him to that 4-year deal. So to me, if you're fading him because he's almost 27, well, then you're just doing Dynasty wrong. The game is won by exploiting those 2 to 3 year production windows, not by hoarding up all these picks who's never even going to crack a starting lineup. To me, Hubbard, he's got a proven role, right? He's in a productive system. He's got the secure contract, and he's got a track record of durability. So you're getting a starting running back at mid RB3 prices. I just went out and paid for him in a league. I put my money where my mouth is, and I got him for the 212.
Oh God.
Yeah.
God.
That's great. Like that I would do that twice. I would give two 212s. Like that's absurd
to me.
Look, I love the call, Dustin. I love what you're saying. The reality is, they showed that they've got confidence, right? Like when you let Miles Sanders go, Jonathan Brooks is going to be back for the season, and they're saying, "Hey, we're good. We're good. We're not pressed. We're good." Lets you know that the confidence is there. So you saw the production, right? And if they're leaving that backfield to him essentially, then they believe. And so in a win now situation, that's still not a player, though you mentioned his age. I don't think he's viewed as somebody that's old, right? So like I think that the value's there. And so you could probably get him for cheap because people try to sell him. Oh, he's maybe one off, but he could definitely win you he could definitely be a stud running back spot for you. We got a big draft energy, and Hubbard is a Canadian treasure. Appreciate that. I'm going to get up here real quick and hit this, and we're going to continue the conversation. My mind is weapon sleeves in the house. What's up, boys? Appreciate you tuning in. And Dougie Fresh, look, anytime you drop a super chat, we are going to prioritize your question. Okay. We are going to make sure that we get to yours immediately. So appreciate you. Much love. Would you send a 27 first for Godwin? I'm going to tell you, for me, that answer is no. Even in a win now situation, I don't want to give up that kind of draft capital for Godwin because I don't think Godwin is the answer. I don't even know if Godwin's going to be back fully healthy towards the beginning of the season. And even then, we now have a top drafted rookie. We still have Mike Evans. Like, I'm just not willing to pay that much. And I don't think this is a win now move. Like, a good win now move is taking a underpriced, like somebody that's priced low because their age, like a DeAndre Hopkins, right? Like, Hopkins is of no value. Sometimes he's on the waivers right now, but he's literally, he's in Baltimore and he's looked at as a top potential receiver in that offense, and you could get him for nothing. You may pick him up on waivers. To me, in a win now situation, I'm not trying to give up my assets for maybes. I want sure things, and I want to try to target people that maybe don't cost me an arm and a leg to get because of what they can provide.
Well, I think there's two things, Tyler, right? And Aaron said this in the chat already. The 2027 class for wide receivers, to buy a 29-year-old wide receiver who's coming off of a major injury, you might as well just wait. If you say, hey, I think Godwin's going to be good, don't pay the price now. Those kind of injuries are non-linear. It's going to take him a while to get up to speed. You're basically paying in basketball short optimism right now that he looks good in whatever it is that he's doing in shorts. The season's going to start. He's not going to be playing. That price is going to plummet. Egbuka's probably going to do well because he was a first-round pick for a reason. And then you don't have to pay that. But there's no way that you should be giving that late of a pick. Like, even though it's a couple years out, it's not worth it. Like, he may give you this year. It's silly.
Have you seen the potential 27 class? Mad Scientist says, no, don't do that deal. And Big Draft Energy, that's why Egbuka is a smash pick, Tyler. Bring it home, brother. Yeah. And that's where even when we get down here and Tyler Sperry's saying, thoughts about Godwin in redraft. When he's healthy, he's been a top 12. I'm not buying Godwin in redraft at his ADP. Like, we're still living in this realm like he's healthy right now. Like, he didn't just come off a huge injury, and like, though Baker and like, we don't have a brand new offensive coordinator in Tampa Bay. Like, we don't know. So I'm not going to spend high capital on a player coming off injury. We don't know what their usage is going to be like. And they drafted a top tier rookie wide receiver to essentially be relevant, right? Like, we're not gonna waste there. So like, I say this, I have never been high on Godwin. I'm definitely not buying him this year because somehow that ADP is still sticking high, like he's healthy and he's been a top 12 or top 20 wide receiver for the last 2 seasons. So,
and just to give some context to that ADP, so right now on Underdog, he is currently wide receiver 35. That range of receivers right there: Jordan Addison, Rome Odunze, who's been the talk of all summer wide receiver talk, Chris Olave, Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, and even Matt Scientist said Tampa Bay used the first elite slot. Used a first in an elite slot wide receiver. That should tell you all you need to know about the Bucs' feelings regarding Godwin. And that is true. Draft capital carries. And appreciate everybody jumping in the chat. Drop your win now questions if you have them. So I'm going to go to you, Steve, real quick. Who tops the list is like a target, an undervalued player that you're running after? And real quick, just a shout out to you. 212 for Chuba is criminal. So good job, Dustin.
Yeah, my Chuba's Hubbard right now. It's crazy.
Steve, who's somebody you're going to go after this year?
I'll keep it in the running back spot. I've got a couple of players, but I'll stick with the running back. Derrick Henry. I'm not sure where I get it. He's 31. I understand his value is just solely based off of his age. So I get it in a dynasty aspect, right? But I play dynasty football for the strategy, but I also play to win. And I think so many people forget about the winning aspect. They're so worried about picks and youth that they're never in that win now situation. I want to win every single year. So with that said, Derrick Henry is a person I'm going after. Now think about this. So the last few years, I mean, he's what, RB4 last year. He is in an offense that, yeah, he's still got plenty of touches. You still got to deal with Lamar Jackson. You don't know like who's actually going to get to the ball in the end zone, right? He still is very effective. He's double-digit touchdowns every single year. He had 1 year where he was not healthy, and it's been a few years since that has happened. And again, I get his physicality. His whole game is based off of his big size. I don't think that's going away. He was never the speediest back, right? That's not something that he has to be concerned with him. I do think I'm a little crazy when it comes to Derrick Henry, though. Right now, I think a lot of people are ranking him as far as Dynasty in the mid 15 to 17 range, right? So for me, at that price point, I'm trading a first if needed. You know, if I'm really desperate, I need a stud running back. That's a possibility in my eyes, but I'm actually going to trade another running back. I'll trade, again, I'm trying to win now. I'm trading a Jonathan Taylor or a Kyron Williams for him and seeing where I can go from that. Jonathan Taylor's great, but again, a lot of injuries, his youth, a few years younger. Some people may go after that because of the age and his effectiveness last season. And then Kyron Williams, as much of a stud he has been, the fact that they haven't signed an extension yet, I don't know if the Rams are even going to keep him. McVay is not loyal to his running backs per se. I could see them just slashing Kyron Williams. So if I can get rid of him, I know he's younger, but for a Derrick Henry who I know just signed an extension for the Ravens, I'm taking that all day.
You know, it's interesting. I don't hate the take. The Kyron Williams part is a little bit difficult for me to swallow, but it's strong. Like I think that's when you believe in a player. But here's the thing, and I won't talk about this long, but Derrick Henry, I believe, will still be successful for at least 2 more years. And the main reason behind that is that offensive scheme. We've seen traditionally in Baltimore, and I've said this on several shows, it doesn't matter who's running the football. It can be Keaton Mitchell. It can be Justice Hill. It can be J.K. Dobbins on a bum leg. It can be whoever, and they're going to average over 5 to 6 yards per carry every single time. And it's because you can't play defense against Baltimore and not watch for Lamar Jackson, which obviously creates space. And when you have somebody like Derrick Henry running, right, you're not going to be able to play both because you can't arm tackle Derrick Henry, right? You've got to choose one or the other. And so that obviously opens lanes. And Derrick Henry is a straight line guy. Like, he is not your side, and he knows that. He runs straight. He gets out there in space, and he goes.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
He's got a mean stiff arm. So in that, he doesn't have to be special, right? Like, as far as like this crazy agility or able to move or tearing up he's not moving laterally a ton. So he's not tearing up his knees, right? He's straight line. And so, you know, people get mixed up in the age dynamic or that, but even James Conner, any running back that you put in an offense with a quarterback that has strong running potential, even like a Kyler Murray, James Conner is still significantly efficient because you have to play the quarterback honest, right? And so I actually like to target running backs in those schemes because I know they're going to get holes. I know they're going to get open. And so a Derrick Henry, I mean, he obviously, I've seen him traded for a second. I've seen him traded for like a young, I would give Chuba for Derrick Henry. You know, you may call me crazy, Dustin, but I would do it, because he's going to be what we want him to be. And I see you, Joe, grimacing your teeth. That's okay. I'll take it.
I don't know.
It's Derrick Henry in an offense like – and here's the thing about Derrick Henry too, and this separates him a little bit from everybody else. And Steve, I know I'm all over your guy right now, but I love the take. Derrick Henry spends an unsurmounted amount of money in keeping himself healthy and keeping his body tight. Like, he invests in himself. He trains like he's freaking 22 years old. and he busts his butt. He's not taking days off. He's not letting his muscles get weak. So I and even it's in the Dougie Fresh in the chat there is agreeing. He says Henry takes care of his body better than anyone.
I'll take offense to that.
Well, Joe, do we need to go there? you need to stand up and show there. The belly. Like,
let's compare Joe to Derrick Henry.
I don't think I can do a pull-up without anything, and he's doing it with chains on.
Love the take. So Big Draft Energy says, so how do you feel about Breece Hall? And this is a good question because the Jets give you this idea that maybe they're not that invested, right? Like maybe they're not that. Maybe Isaiah Davis is the dude. Who knows? Like you see all these narratives all the time. So on Breece and a win now. Is he somebody you're targeting, and what does that cost look like, Joe?
Yeah, so Breece Hall has two outcomes that we're looking at right now. One, he stays in New York. Justin Fields is either going to throw it to Garrett Wilson or he's going to dump it off to Breece Hall. Breece Hall could catch 100 passes this year, and it wouldn't be the craziest thing ever that's going to happen because Fields, he plays with a Nintendo controller. He has two buttons on it, and he's throwing to one of those two buttons. And we know what those two buttons are. I don't care about the tight end that they drafted. I don't care about Alan Lazard being on the team.
You watch your mouth on Mason Taylor, sir.
It's going to be Breece Hall. It's going to be Garrett Wilson. And he was top pick last year, and that wasn't just out of a fluke. That wasn't for an accident. Scenario 2, he gets traded to a better team, and he doesn't have to play for the dysfunctional Jets anymore. So to me, this is the cheapest that you're going to get. I don't think he's to the level of talent that Marv Harrison is, but this is the cheapest that you're going to get an elite player in a buy low window right now for Breece Hall. So I think you have to jump all over it if you can.
Yeah, exactly. Just to piggyback off that real quick, Joe, that's a situation where you bet on the talent. Like the situation isn't always going to be the same. And this is a guy that's already proven that he can catch upwards to over 80 balls on a season. Those are the high value targets that these running backs are going to get. And so if I have an opportunity to get Breece as a contender, I'm all over it because either he's going to produce in this system because much like you talked about with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, that running quarterback, you can't bear down and focus on the running back because you still have that quarterback option running outside. Much of the same is going to be now here in New York with Justin Fields leading that offense. So, I mean, if Breece is down suddenly in the community, which I haven't really seen him go down that much, but if there's a buy window here, like you said, Joe, and it's at its cheapest, I'm all over that. I mean, why wouldn't you? The talent's still there, and they're moving away from Nathaniel Hackett. And I saw something where that zone concept scheme that he ran, Breece Hall was getting 3.78 yards per carry, and they're going to move back to more of the power gap scheme where he was averaging 4.79 yards per carry. So just something to think about, going back to a different type of running concept that actually fits his skill set.
Love it. And we're going to try the chat is popping. Appreciate all y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe. Got Dev in the chat. Breece and Big Draft Energy. Tyler's locked in today. Where's the whiskey? Typically it's a whiskey night. Tonight, my wife decided that it was margarita night. So the ice is jingling.
I was about to say, you better not blame that perfect queen for you not have a whiskey in your hand.
No,
you gotta be real nervous, Tyler.
No, my wife is amazing. So Steve, real quick, and just hit us real quick so we can get some of these other questions. No Cap Max said, what is a fair offer for Breece?
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
I mean, if you're talking draft, I always try to go draft picks if possible because everyone, especially when everyone's drafting rookies now, for example, like if I've got anywhere from, again, depending on if we're super flex or not, if I'm anywhere from 106 to the 109, I think it's a fair price for Breece. Think about the running backs that are getting drafted right now in that position, and I still think Breece is more talented and in a better position. Like you see, obviously Hampton in that range. Henderson for Patriots are in that range, and I'd rather have Breece Hall. So if I'm in the middle of a rookie draft right now, and you've got people who are really trying to jump, I think it's always funny when you're in the middle of a rookie draft. That's the best time to trade picks because people are antsy. They want to draft. They just love the rush of drafting. And if I can get a player like Breece Hall and I'm trading the 106, I'm taking it every time. And I get it. We're uncertain because you've got Aaron Glenn now in New York. He's made some comments about a 3-headed, backfield, and no one knows what it's going to look like. Breece is the best back in that backfield. It's without doubt. And then you add Justin Fields, like we talked about with Derrick Henry. You've got a rushing ability at the quarterback position. It only opens up lanes for Breece. So I'm anywhere from that mid to late range in the first round. I'm going for Breece Hall every time.
I like that. The only when you get into that range, there's a couple guys it's hard for me to take Breece over Travion. It's hard for me to take Breece over Judkins. Now Judkins is a little bit different. I have a lot of belief in him. But I mean I think that's fair. But the difference is I think that you can actually get Breece for later. I think that while you're willing to give the 5 or the 6 or the 7, I think during the draft, especially, you're getting Breece for the 112. You're getting Breece for maybe the 2-2, right? Like if we get down to brass tacks, because it is a very uncertain narrative. And the reality is you could probably get them. So what's fair? Probably the 1-7, 1-8, somewhere in there. But we're here to win. And the reality is I think that you can maybe pay a little bit less and come out on top. I love that. Hit some of these chats. Say Fields has 2 buttons, gives his talent too much credit. Agree with that. Let's see here. King Henry over Chuba all day. Appreciate that. It says sitting Breece for Davis is the kind of move that gets a coach fired. Not happening. I agree. Dustin getting a little love. Big Draft Energy said, this Dustin guy, great fixed response, clear, concise, sharp. I look forward to supporting his future content. You'll be able to catch them on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, Debbie Dojo show. So, you came to me, Disco, and you were like, hey, who's some of these guys that, maybe out of Arkansas that I should be looking for? And I gave you them, and we saw it in the draft. So Dustin is that guy. He is watching these guys from the time they come in as a freshman, as a 3-star, 4-star recruit, and giving you takes. So definitely some good content there to follow. He said, I'm only taking a top 3 pick over Breece and Superflex, Genty, Hampton, and Ward, and that's it. Love it. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm on sell Breece 100%. His value will be less next year. And that's great. See, my mind is a weapon. You're the guy that I'm coming to, and I'm like, hey man, I just don't know who. Man, you really want this guy. You want Trey Harris here at the 112 or at the 2-2. And I will take Breece. I need a running back. I know he's uncertain what's going to happen with him, but I guess I'll take Breece off your hands.
Your career makes so much sense, bro. So much sense.
Let me take him off your hands. You don't want that winning piece. Look, this is the time of the year where every rookie is going to beat out every starter on the team, right? You got the camp clip season where they're running routes against air in shorts, and we're just like, oh, look at that. And Emeka Egbuka ran a ladder drill perfectly. Like, take him. Who needs Jamar Chase, right?
He doesn't have working hands. He can't catch a football because he took off for the COVID year.
Oh no. God. Exactly. What a win that narrative was. Car salesman pitch right there. Look, let me tell you this. If you want to win your league, okay, do more listening than you do talking. Okay. A person will tell you who they want, and they will tell you who they're low on if you let them offer you. And many a times that's where you win, right? Like, my conversation is, hey, I might be interested in this guy. Who are you interested in on my team? And then all of a sudden they like somebody that I am out on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, gold, boom, boom, and I'm getting Breece for Chris Godwin and a third round pick, and who knows? But like, not that it's not about taking advantage of people or anything like that, but it is about knowing the person that you're trading with. And there's a ton of people, like you talk to, like, there was a guy in a league that decided, he was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm not going to beat this team. So I'm going to sell all my studs. I'm going to sell my studs. And he traded Travis Etienne and Kyle Pitts for a late first round pick, because he's rebuilding. And you may go, okay, that's fine, because you may be on the outs of those, but that's two solid players for really. Like, you think about that, like, would you trade Trey Harris for both Etienne and Pitts? Like, that's the take there, right? Or he traded, what was it? It was like a first round pick, and he got he got a first round pick and like Dalton Kincaid and like Jalen Coker and a bunch of like nobodies. It was like one of those trades where they just plastered it full of players that they didn't want, and somehow it looked better than it was. And in that, what was that trade? He gave away, it was stupid. Hold on. I'm going to pull this up, because this does happen. Like, this is an actual thing that you have to watch out for when somebody starts selling these players. Hold on. It's right up here. It was, so he traded away. Listen to this. He traded Dalton Kincaid, Jalen Coker, Jahan Dotson, Christian Watson, Kendre Miller, and a first next year and a fourth next year for Breece Hall and Drake London. Right. And it's like, what are you doing? So anyways, I digress. I don't know what this means. Is Tyler Jewish? I'm not. I'm blonde hair and blue eyed. But
Is Tyler Jewish?
I don't know where that is. But maybe he's saying I'm cheap. Maybe that's what it comes down to. Anyway,
weird comment.
Back to our targets. And Dustin, I'm going to lean on you and Steve. Steve, who's the second? I really like the Derrick Henry take. Who's somebody else that you're targeting in a win now?
This one's going to be maybe not everyone's going to be on the same page with me on this one, but I have Jerry Jeudy. Kind of that middle of the range age at 26. Finally showed up last season, right? Finished wide receiver 12. On an interesting quarterback situation, like team with the Cleveland Browns, who are still dealing with it, right? We don't know who is absolutely playing quarterback. But I will say this, him leaving Denver to Cleveland actually made a big difference for him. They actually utilized him. They actually realized he's actually a decently talented wide receiver. The reason I bring him up is because he is going to be a cheap option, right? Obviously you got to be concerned with the quarterback play. You don't know if it's Flacco. You don't know if it's, Shadir. You don't know if it's Watson if he ever comes back. I mean, no one knows what it's going to be like. Even with the quarterback play last season, finishing wide receiver 12 is a big deal. He looks great in OTAs, and I know he's in shorts, but he looks really good in this offense. He looks comfortable. And I think, again, his price, I think it's going to be really, really cheap to get after. I mean, you can get him a mid-second, late-second pick for him. This is going to be a hot take. I would even consider getting rid of Chris Olave for Jerry Jeudy and maybe something else, a third or something. I'm not the biggest Chris Olave fan, and I think he's been overhyped. And I think Judy's talent is still there, being only a couple of years older than him.
It's interesting with Jeudy because the first year outside of Denver, Jeudy finishes as wide receiver 12. So it is a huge question mark as to what that looks like. But the funny thing is, as you said, Jerry Jeudy, I'm going to throw a Big Draft Energies comment at Jerry Jeudy, obviously making a pun on the last conversation. But as soon as you said Jerry Jeudy, both Dustin and Joe unintentionally both put their hands over their face like, ooh, I don't know. Dustin, do you agree? Are you out on Judy? Is that too much? Or are you in?
No, I mean Judy's a tremendous talent coming out of Alabama. I was very excited as a Broncos fan when we drafted him. Unfortunately, I mean, he couldn't stay healthy in Denver as well. Definitely didn't have the best quarterback play either. Offensive systems that we ran between Nathaniel Hackett, it just wasn't conducive for success. So I am happy for him to find the success there in Cleveland. It's a tough situation, and it's one that you talked about, Steve, outside of the quarterback situation. It's who's going to be throwing him the ball. I believe it's going to be Joe Flacco, and if it is Joe Flacco, well, then that's a good news for Jerry Jeudy. If it's Shedeur Sanders.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
A rookie, not so confident. If it's Dylan Gabriel, I'm definitely not confident. So it's just those questions outside of him. But in a vacuum, betting on the talent, I'm all there for Jeudy. And I actually really do like the call. Wide receiver 12, and we know he's talented. So, I mean, dependent on what you can get for him, I'm all for it. Have any of you guys seen Jeudy moved into any of your leagues? I have no idea what his market value is.
I got him for a 212.
212. That's like the magic pick.
Yeah, I feel like anything over 2.6 this year, I would trade anything for. I do not care about the rest of the draft.
Yeah. I traded away Jeudy. So I'm a little bit on the other side, but I traded Chase Brown, Jerry Jeudy, and J.K. Dobbins for Kenneth Walker, Trey Benson, and Brian Thomas Jr.
Ooh, that's great for you.
Yeah, I agree. It was more the Chase Brown take. Like, he's really high on Chase Brown. Believes Chase Brown could be a top 5 running back this season, which we'll see. But I was happy to get Benson. I do think that maybe this year it's more of a split, but I think next year he could take that backfield. And of course I wanted Brian Thomas Jr. And I'm not out on Kenneth Walker either. Kenneth Walker is another cheap buy now target. Like, you can get him, and you could probably get him for, you can definitely get him for a less than, player or pick. Like, I've seen Kenneth Walker go for a late second, and with this draft class, I would trade that all day. Andrea saying I traded Olave for Caleb Johnson. I like that. Big Draft Energy asks, is Olave overhyped? Joe, are you in? Is Olave overhyped? I do think there's a bit of a product of a situation, but outside, do you think the talent is there for him to be a real asset for somebody? Or are we now at like it? And I say this, it really goes both ways. Is Olave like a cheap buy now? Right? Because this is essentially the consensus take is he's trash-ish, even though I don't think Caleb Johnson's trash, but you get what I'm saying. Like, the value's obviously significantly fallen. So is he a buy now?
I think the big thing with Olave is people were so worried about the health aspect. He really had 2 good years and then didn't do a whole lot. Last year, his rookie year, had 72 receptions, 1,042 yards, 4 TDs. Sophomore season, 87, 11, 23, 5 TDs. So last year he kind of had this injury. He was the offensive rookie of the year in 2022, or at least he got votes for it. I think he got 4 votes. And so it's just like, for me, I'm not worried about the concussion thing. I get that could be something that's out there, but that's a risk for anybody. It's not like you get a 10 concussion pass and you're good. You can have 1 bad hit and be done for your career. Or you could get 20 concussions and it doesn't matter, So for me, it's like the price is interesting. I think it continues to go down, but I do think that he's a buy. He's still very young. He's only 24 years old. It's not like he's like this 27-year-old dude. But I get the move off of him because Jeudy isn't that old either. So it's not like you're going to get 1 season out of Jeudy and he's done. So if you have that reservation, I understand. I don't carry that.
Love it. BTJ worth more than Judy and Brown. I agree. I worked my deal. Okay. I found the PED. He wasn't high on Benson. He wasn't high on Walker. He was high on BTJ. I got those as throw-ins, added Judy with Chase Brown, and we call it a day. I'm always in for a good deal. Rashid Shaheed is a menace. Okay, let me get. What is the value of Cortland Sutton, Joe? So this is directed towards you. I have a buddy who asked me if Sutton is worth a 27 first. I said, heck no, because we're on the radio. What's your opinion, Joe?
So Cortland Sutton, he is going to turn 30 this year. I have a huge aversion to wide receivers that are turning 30. Yes, he had a great season last year. I think that caught everybody by surprise. But for me, that's not a play that I'm going to move. If I am going to look at Sutton, I'm probably looking at like a lesser draft pick in the middle of the season, maybe a second, something like that. I don't think Cortland Sutton necessarily pushes it over the hump for me. If I'm going to win, it's not going to be Cortland Sutton. If I'm going to pay up, I'm going to go for somebody like Devontae Adams, who's in an elite offense, is still an elite wide receiver. And even though he is a little older, he's going to have a cheaper perception because he's south of 30. But for me, Cortland Sutton, 2027 first, it's a hard pass.
Here's the deal. Like, that cost is crazy. Like, let's be real. And Steve, I'm sure you can second this. There's nobody is asking for a 27 first for Cortland Sutton unless they're crazy. Like, you're getting Cortland Sutton for way cheaper. And Bo Nix is going to feed them. And people aren't even like, it's like they're asleep at the wheel and have no idea. Like, you can get Cortland Sutton, no lie, for probably a third rounder in a rookie draft. Like,
you're
that's
like a 2025.
Yeah, like this year, you could easily trade a third round pick for Cortland Sutton, and it's just like that. It's like sometimes players, right, despite what they do, they just fall. It's like a name thing. They just fall into this realm of like, oh, it's Cortland Sutton. Like, if I tried to trade away Cortland Sutton right now, I could put him on the trade block, and I'm not going to get anything. I'm going to get some offers. Like, they're going to send me a fourth round pick, the 312. They're going to send me joke offers for Cortland Sutton. So the reality is you flip that and you can buy him for pennies, for nickels, right? And so it to me, especially like Nick showed last year, he's going to air the football out. Like, that's another win now, buy target in best ball. I freaking love him because he could go off any given week, and he is wide receiver one there. Love it. Let's see here. Yeah. Let's see. In on Sutton. And let's see, but not a first. I agree. You don't have to pay a first. Denver's wide receiver 2 is Pat Bryant. That spot's open, so we'll see. Although in best ball, I am grabbing some Mims. Let's see here.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the thing with Cortland Sutton is he's still going to be the wide receiver one in our offense this year, but there is so much more added target competition. You said it, Joe. Evan Ingram. That's going to be our guy that's attacking over the middle of the field. And the thing that Bo Nix showed as a rookie was that he's able to actually layer those throws over the middle of the field, over those linebackers. But we didn't have the personnel to really run that. So a lot of our offense was funneled through Cortland Sutton on the outside. Towards the end of the season, you started to see Marvin Mims become that vertical threat because they kept implementing. We couldn't decide if we wanted Troy Franklin or if we were going to run Marvin Mims in there. And so I think now that we have those added roles defined and the extra competition, you might see a slight decrease in Cortland Sutton's production, but he is one of those guys whose production is always going to outweigh his artificial value in Dynasty. Like you said, Tyler, you could put him on the trade block and you're not going to get any offers. So if I have Cortland Sutton, I'm probably just holding on to him as a win now piece. He's a great depth option that you have. If you're looking to sell him, you're never going to be able to get something that matches that production that he's going to give on your Dynasty rosters.
Right, like after this conversation, I'm gonna go in my league just to test it. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna offer a 4th round pick for Cortland Sutton, and then what's gonna happen because I tape cast these things all the time, being in sales. They're going to come back with a counter and they're going to say, I won't do the fourth, but I'll do a third. And I'm going to trade a late third-round pick for Courtland Sutton in like 3 leagues. Mark my words, it is going to happen probably tonight.
And you're probably going to make it sound like you're doing them such a favor, too. You're making me so sick right now.
Right.
But that's part of it, right? Like,
I was going to be sending Shorts Brashard Smith clips and be like, this could be you, bro.
Look, my brothers give me such a hard time because I would be a hard sell on a player. Like a player gets drafted, they go to a spot, they're going to be the starter. Like Devin Singletary goes to the Giants, and I'm like, bro, he's running back 1. And they're like, yeah, no. And I'm like, cool, let me get T. Higgins for him. Here you go. Like it's part of the game. It's fun. I love trading. Like trading is so much fun for me. But anyways, outside of the car salesman stuff and me taking advantage of people, which I apologize, Lord forgive me for my transgressions. But what about still too steep, Sutton and a 26 second for a 26 first? I mean, it depends on who's there or who you're targeting. If it's an early first, sure, I would do that.
Well, if you're contending, though, assuming you're on theme with the show, if you're contending and you're expecting to be at the back half of the first, and then you're getting a worse team second, you're not really trading anything.
Right.
Like if that ends up being the 2-1 and you give him the 112, you basically got a free Courtland Sutton.
Yeah. Free Courtland Sutton. That's the cost. That's the price. Look, this is Win Now Dynasty football, okay? Get the people that are free, that can win you a D-Hop, Sutton, Nick Chubb if he signs anywhere. Like, these people are free. They're on waivers right now. Like, who the heck knows? This is Win Now Fantasy football. Okay, so we got to shift. We got like 10 minutes left in the show, and we got to give the people the juice, okay? So obviously we have assets, right? Like we have assets in fantasy, especially younger assets or high quality players that we can move, right? Like this is where we get into the players that you can move. So like if I have somebody young, right, that's got a lot of hype, a lot of potential that I can move in a win now situation to get me somebody that can win me a championship. Like let's say a Derrick Henry. Let's say a CMC, right? That people are somehow getting low on. I'm seeing CMC going in the 2nd round, which I'm loving. I'm like, this year I want to draft at the back of the 1st round so I can get a top wide receiver and then I can follow up in the 2nd round and get CMC. Love it. Like these players that can win you championships, even like George Kittle is falling back. Like, it's crazy. So these players that can obviously win you a championship in the immediate, right? Who are some of these players that maybe have a lot of hype? And Dustin, I'm going to start with you. Somebody that has a lot of hype that you feel like you can trade for massive value, and maybe you don't even think that they're actually going to pan out, right? Like it's all hype, no gain. So you want to get the people that are going to win you that big pot of money in your league this year.
Okay. I have a few options here, but based off of that beautiful little soliloquy that you gave me there, I'm going to go with moving off Jackson Dart. All right, moving off Jackson Dart. That's a guy that, for my people here in the chat that have been with me, I've been pretty critical on Jackson Dart. So here's the kind of move that can win competitive dynasty leagues. Flipping future hype pieces or these unproven stashes like a Jackson Dart for a known fantasy starter like Jared Goff. Now, when I say Jared Goff, I know it's not sexy. It's not Twitter bait, right? But it's sharp. Goff is currently valued, looking him up right now, he's valued just above Jackson Dart on Keep Trade Cut. And in some leagues, you could probably get him straight up or with like a quick little like 3rd round throw in. To me, that's wild inefficiency because Goff, the last 3 seasons, has finished QB 10, QB 7, and this last season QB 6. And he's been a stable and productive quarterback too with weekly QB 1 upside. People forget he's still only 30 years old, and he has a total command of that Detroit offense, even without Ben Johnson. People are freaking out because Ben Johnson left, but Goff has been in that system. He's a natural fit in that system, and he's effectively become what you would call an extension of that coaching staff, I think, on the field. He understands the timing, he understands rhythm and the spacing concepts so deeply that the offensive coordinator change, it doesn't concern me. The structure and the core philosophy in Detroit remain intact. Now, contrast that with Jackson Dart. Like I said, I was critical of his offensive environment at Ole Miss. It's a system that it doesn't ask much of the quarterback post-snap or pre-snap. It's one that leans heavily on those manufactured RPOs. Dart has tools and upside, sure. I'm not saying that. But he's entering the NFL as a clear developmental quarterback. So that's great. He went to a good situation where he could sit and learn. He's a clipboard guide for at least a year and possibly longer. So if you're rebuilding or you have time to wait, Dart, he's an interesting long-term bet, right? Like, I have no problem with him in that situation. But if you're in win now mode, which is the key, he's just a luxury stash. He's not earning you points. Goff is. That's my point with this. And this is the exact kind of moment where you can capitalize on those misaligned dynasty timelines. So if you're sitting on Dart as a rookie pick or one of those roster stashes, or even another similarly valued future bet, and you're a contender that needs stability at QB2, this is the move. I can't stress this enough. You can't fall in love with the unknown. Flip the narrative asset for the one that's actually scaring points. Now, to me, Tyler, these are the micro edges that separate contenders from pretenders. Because if Goff finishes as a top 10 QB again, no one's going to remember that Dart looked good in preseason or could take over in 2026. They're going to remember that you cashed in and you won.
It's a fair take, and I appreciate you for putting it on the edge of hot, right? Like, I love a good hot take, and like, there's a lot of hype behind Jackson Dart. Look, Big Draft Energy, Dustin, I won't be following your work anymore because of the Dart slander. Dart is SPS gold. I know you guys saw all across. Brett Bradford said, but Dart scored 100 on the SPS. This star predictor score created by Brainy Ballers, huge shout out to him, that
Awesome.
essentially created a measurement system for future production. And so there's this idea that Dart is going to be a future stud. Like, for years and years, he's going to be a baller. But I get your take in the fact that you're saying, hey, it's cool, I'm good with that. I'll trade a potential baller for an underrated baller now to get me a championship.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Right now. So yes. I get that. I get that take. Steve, are you with them? Are you a sell on Dart, or is Dart like a hard stop for you?
I have no urge to get Dart in any of my rookie drafts. Stayed far away.
All right.
I don't think Giants are going to even keep him on the team. They're going to draft a quarterback next year in the top 5 anyway. So let's be real.
Whew.
Or the coach and GM combo are going to be gone.
It's getting hot in here.
Exactly.
As a Steelers fan who needs a quarterback next year, I can't have that happen. So, like, please just ride it out for a couple weeks.
I got to run away. No. Look, I mean,
look, tests are great and all. I love the test, but let's get on the football field, do real football stuff, and see how you can process when the blitz is coming. Because when Jackson Dart played Georgia, probably the best defense that he would go against, when they sent that blitz and they took away his first primary read, he was lost. That's all I'm saying. And that's what you're going to see in the NFL. So not saying that he can't do it, but if we're expecting that guy to come in and be a baller right off the rip, those are the type of people that I don't want to say I'll take advantage, but I'm going to work a deal with you because this guy's never thrown a pass in the NFL. He's never stepped on the field, and we're already crowning him because he's got some aura, right? Like, he's cool. He's got some arm talent. I'm not saying there's nothing there, but those are the type of quarterbacks that I stay away from. If you can't process the field post snap, then you typically aren't going to be able to make it in the NFL.
Look,
Go ahead.
The thing that I like about it, right? Like the thing that I like about it is it's projected talent for undervalued talent, right? Like Goff, top 10 fantasy quarterback, right? In an offense that they're using in. It's proven, it's there, right? So it's like you hope that Dart will be that, and you hope that you get that out of Dart for the next 10 years. But it's still a question mark. So your whole point is why keep the question mark and not just take the guarantee? But the reality is, let's just get down to brass tacks on this, is the fact that if you trade Dart for Goff, you are getting Goff and 100%.
Yes,
like with the
exactly.
hype being around rookie season, with what they're showing on film right now, with the SPS scoring, if you come to anybody and you say, I'll give you Jackson Dart, and I ask for Jared Goff, for Goff, Jared Goff, they're going to go, what else do you want with him? Like, they're going to assume you want.
You would never say that, Tyler.
No, I would say that. Like, if you came to me and like, if you were like, hey, I'll give you Dart for Goff, I'd be like, really? Sure, let's do that.
That's what I'm saying. You wouldn't say, oh, well, you need to get more now.
No, but it's gonna happen. Like, the reality is, you can go in and you can off Jackson Dart right now for Jared Goff and probably get Jameson Williams with them. Like that's the reality. So I love it. To be fair, Malik Neighbors is his primary read. Yes, that is true, as long as his toe injury does not linger. Now, Golden is an early second, brother. Let's see here. Now he is not making the second read on the blitz because he doesn't have the knowledge or because he gets sacked behind. Look, let me tell you something about Jackson Dart. And I like Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart can be a good quarterback. I think he landed in the best spot, being able to be behind Russell Wilson for a year. Like, he needed to be mentored. I believe he needs to be mentored. But let's go back to, and I use the draft day thing for a while, like, comparison there, the Bo Callahan deal. When Jackson Dart gets on tilt, right? Like, you think about poker, when he gets sacked a couple times, he loses himself, and he starts getting frazzled, and that's normal. That's normal for a young team. But when you go to the Giants, that's going to be a lot of your life, right? Like, a lot of your life is going to be that getting hammered. And so, it really is a good thing for him to have some time to develop in that aspect of his game. And I think that he can be good if he puts in the time and stuff that he needs to. But he's also a very confident, a very cocky individual, so we'll see, right? And that's the point Dustin's making, is the we'll see is, I would rather take a guarantee over a we'll see, right? You have all the hype on a we'll see you want, that's fine. Give me somebody I know is going to perform. So we're going to hit one more sell person here before we sign off on the show. Steve, give us somebody that is on your roster that you're looking to move in a buy now situation. By the way, we got 5 people on right now. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. You guys are all awesome. Thanks for tuning in to the show. Hit it, Steve.
So I'm going to Roman and Dunze. I'm selling them now. So, right, you're coming off a rookie year. You're in an offense that still has DJ Moore. You got Luther Burden, who they just drafted. So obviously a lot of weapons. You got Cole Kmet. You've got the new tight end. I mean, there's too many weapons in this offense for, I think, a Dunze or really any of them to really stand out. So I'm taking the sell right now if I can, being that he's 23. He's still got the value in his name. And I'm going for, again, I'm winning now. I'm going for a player like Terry McLaurin plus. Give me Terry Scary Terry right now with Daniels was a huge, huge upgrade for him, right? People forget that obviously, McLaurin's had some really good seasons, but he's never had a season like he did until he got a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. And now you're going to year 2. You add Deebo Samuel to add a little bit more of a scare for defensive teams to focus on. So I'm taking the veteran McLaurin, who I know will at least be a top 15 wide receiver, where Dunze may still be in the 20+ range this upcoming season. And I'd still get a little bit of something out of it, right? Because I don't know if I'm going straight Odunze from McLaurin, but if I can get McLaurin in, say, a second, I'm taking that as of right now for winning. I'm absolutely taking that. I'm still getting something in some value in the future too. So I think Odunze is a good sell right now because of his value is still at an all-time high.
I don't hate it. Odunze. So Odunze is an example of a good hype player, right? Like he's got a lot of hype. It's his turn. He's gonna break out this year with Caleb. And sometimes you sell on narratives, right? Like sometimes you sell on narratives, and I think that's what you're doing. And I would definitely take a McLaurin. I like McLaurin. I love Jaden Daniels. If you can get Jaden Daniels in Dynasty, do it. He's a stud. Joe, you got a player that you're looking to sell right now to boost yourself?
Yeah, so the player that came to mind to me was Jordan Addison for similar reasons. I think that he is the second option in Minnesota, but everybody's expecting JJ McCarthy to just come in and just kind of like go crazy. But if you look at draft capital right now, Justin Jefferson is projected to be like wide receiver 2. Then you have Addison, who's projected to be like wide receiver 24. Then you have Hawkinson, who's projected to be tight end 5. JJ McCarthy is not supporting all of that. And Justin Jefferson is not going anywhere on this team. So Addison's going to have to go somewhere else and establish something. That's years away, but you can get good value for him. So it's not that I dislike the player at all. It's just kind of an unfortunate situation for him. And his value is going to decline when he doesn't perform as much.
No, I don't mind that. I sold JJ McCarthy this season. Did you see that deal in the Bourbon League, Steve?
I think I had seen that pop up recently.
I may have been a little bit crazy on that one. Let me see if I can roll up here to the trade. Let me do this team. While I'm looking this up, let's see. Sell Bucky to someone like Ben and Aaron Jones. What's the opinion on Aaron Jones this year, Steve?
I'm not really sure because they got Jordan, Mason as well added to the roster, who obviously shined really well. But again, you're going from an offense like Kyle Shanahan to, going to a Kevin O'Connell offense. It's a little different, but I still think Aaron Jones' value is strong, at least in the receiving aspect, because that's what he's always been really, really great at. Again, I'm not paying a lot if I'm going to go after him. I actually like him as a really cheap option. You're talking mid third to late third for a veteran running back that might have a year or two, who has had some injury struggles. But again, Aaron Jones is a player that can get you 15 to 20 points, but he also might get you nothing, right? Like, so you got to understand he's a good flex option depending on how your roster is built out. But I love him as a strong, solid RB2, kind of like we talk about, James Conner, who's going to win you some games late in the season, and he may, give you some headaches during the middle of the season. But I like Aaron Jones as a really cheap option. I actually was able to get Aaron Jones a few times because I desperately needed running backs. I got rid of a couple of young guys that had a little bit of name behind them, plus a 3rd-round pick, just to get a little bit of a more veteran presence on my team to get more consistency. I'm just curious what they're going to do with Mason. That's what I'm really unsure of.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
So I found the trade. So the trade was JJ McCarthy, Will Levis, 25 10th round pick and a 25 7th round. It's an IDP league, so there's more rookie picks. And in that, I got Russell Wilson and Tua, Trey Benson, a 25 first round pick which ended up being Jackson Dart to pair with Russell Wilson, and a 26 first-round pick. So essentially, it was pretty much you scrub all the other stuff to the side. It was J.J. McCarthy for 2 firsts, Trey Benson, and two in a super flex league, Russell and Tua. So in a win now move, I got 2 quarterbacks that could potentially be applicable, right? 2 first-round picks to build on the future and Trey Benson. So for a rookie that has not seen a full season, or not a rookie anymore, but a player that hadn't seen a full season yet. So we'll see how it pans out, if J.J. McCarthy is the truth or not, but I will always trade a potential possibility for a sure thing, right? So anyways, we are hitting the 10:07 mark. We appreciate all you for tuning in. We will hit Philip. I will not leave without hitting your question. Was that trade consensual? It was consensual. It was actually offered to me. But real quick, just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Everybody in this room right now, you can find on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, FSAN.com. We've got shows coming. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show tonight. Philip Fry said, got offered a 26 first mid for my
DK Metcalf.
Is it just DK?
Yeah. And then he's getting into like the team and settings and all that stuff.
26 first, mid first round for DK. I mean, I can already tell you I'm in on the mid first for DK. I've never been a proponent of DK. I think he's a big athlete with not incredible hands. So I'm good there. I think there are people that you can get that can be just as solid.
I guess, but if this team is like a win now team, so why are you trying to get assets right now?
I don't think he needs DK. Like the mid first, like he's trying to build on the back end of a win now. So like he's got BTJ, AJB, and Evans. That's all you need. I think Worthy's a sleeper. Worthy's a sleeper for potential big points. So you can off DK. He's not needed because
I guess, but like next year's draft is a good QB draft and they don't need QBs. I would take DK in a flex all day to be able to pick an extra player next year that may not pan out.
It's a mid first, so you're not in
maybe,
a quarterback.
We don't know that. How can we say that right now?
Right, but if it's theoretically a mid first, like in theory, if it's theoretically a mid first, the reality is if it's a quarterback heavy draft and there's good quarterbacks, they're all going to be gone in probably the 1 through 4, right? So if your quarterbacks get heavy prioritized and he doesn't need quarterback, that means that at the 5, 6, 7, or 8, he's probably getting RB 1, 2 or wide receiver 1, 2 in that draft class. So would you trade DK for the wide receiver 1 or the wide receiver 2 of that potential draft class? And to me, the answer is yes.
Especially with no quarterback in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Someone's going to have to move the ball to somebody.
They need a running back if you look at the roster. B-Rob and Ramondre aren't going to be around much longer.
I get the move from DK. Love that. He said the mid first could be solid. It could even be DK Metcalf. It's the Family Guy mystery box thing.
I know, right? I don't look, and I appreciate the mad science. I appreciate Aaron. Aaron is a killer, but I will. One thing I'm in this world, you got to go with your gut. Like you got to go with your people. And for me, DK is not one of my people. And so, like for me, if I can get a wide receiver 1 or RB1 in next year's class, or a wide receiver 2 or RB2 in next year's class, give it to me, and I'll let DK sell off into the sunset over to Aaron St. Dennis's roster, and I will applaud him for taking him, and I hope he wins him a championship. The reality is he won't, but I can hope and pray for you. He said, your gut had too much margarita. DK ain't never won anybody a championship. Let's be real. Anyways, I will not let it stand that Will Howard is not a quarterback. Agreed. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. It is 10 past the hour. We are overtime, but that's always a fun show. So next Friday, 9 o'clock Central Time, make sure you're here. And we're always going to have a good time. Drop your questions in the chat. It's a blast. Dustin, Steve, absolute pleasure having you all on the show. Hope I want to have you again. Audience, give them some applause if you enjoyed having them on. But we will see you next week, 9 o'clock Central Time from the forum. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all of you. We're out.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.